Hey there. Today we're talking about balance, life balance. Just take a moment and think about what that means to you, and we'll be back with you in just a moment. Hi there. Welcome to Stress Talk Live. This is the place where we help women over 40 to live healthier lives through strategic stress management and solution focused self care. I'm Marcyline Bailey, and I am your host for tonight. Actually, I'm your host usually every Sunday evening, but that's neither here nor there because we have a topic that I am really just I'm really just kind of chilled about sharing it with you. It's about balance and living a balanced life. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background as to why I chose this particular topic for the month of July. But before we get to that, I always have reminders for you. I want to remind you to like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants on Facebook and Instagram. And if you are a social worker who is also following me on Real Social Workers Online Magazine, welcome, 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 colleagues. I love it when I can interact with my social work colleagues. The other thing I'd like to share with you is to go to this link because this link has all kinds of resources for you, how to connect with me, how to sign up for my newsletter, as well as some special things that might be helpful to you in your life as well as in your career. And this, last but not least, is my webpage where you can learn a little bit more about me and ML Bailey Consultants. So, our topic for today is the 8 benefits women get from a balanced and harmonious life plan. And during the month of July, we're going to talk about having a life that is in balance. Today is just an introduction to give you a little bit of background about what I'm kind of thinking about, as well as what I have been doing for the last month or so. The last month, maybe a couple of months. Um, One of the things when I think about a balanced life, um, when I started thinking about my life, let me go there. I started thinking about my life. I felt like I've been working really hard, and I'm not just feeling it. I am. I've been working pretty hard. I have a full time job as the lead social worker in our school district. I also have a part time private practice, and I say it's part time. However, I leave my full time work and I go directly to my part time work. And I know that there are a number of women who do that. We work a full time job and then we have a part time gig that we are cultivating or we're doing. This part time private practice is a business that I've had for for about 12 years. And to be honest with you, I was ambivalent about it. I became ambivalent about it up until very recently, where when I had to make a decision as to whether I was going to continue it or whether I was going to let it go, I decided I was going to continue. And I'm glad I did. But what that means and what that means for me is that I have to also put effort into the practice, to grow the practice to a certain point, to make sure that it is financially feasible for me to continue it, and to make sure that I am giving um, research based um, counsel and using therapeutic methods to the people that I see. So it is work. So while I'm saying it's part time, it is still work. So over the last couple of months, things have just revved up. Work has revved up, and this practice has revved up as well. I've also, I'm also, I volunteer with a couple of organizations, and it takes a lot of time. One of the things that I found is that I started feeling like I was overwhelmed again. I've been there before, which I've shared with you, but I was feeling overwhelmed, feeling as if, I'm on this treadmill or the hamster wheel. And I needed to find a way to either get off of it or to manage all that's going on in my life. This is where a balanced life comes into play, at least for me. A couple of things that I decided in the month of May was that I was going to play. I was going to put aside some of these things that I kept saying I have to do, I need to do, I must do. And I was going to continue to um, work on my fitness and my health. And so I began working out with a fitness trainer, which has been real interesting, y'all. It's been real interesting. Working out with a fitness trainer, but I also started doing some other things. I've gone to the movies. I can't tell you the last time I went to a movie. I think the last time I went to the movie was to see um, A Quiet Place 2, which was what, 3 years ago? And so I went to the movies. I've gone to few movies in the last couple of months. A friend invited me to make jelly or preserves with her. So I made peach preserves. I've binged watched, right? I've binged on shows that I hadn't even thought about before. And so because I've been doing that, and I mean, I've actually put things aside and said, hey, I'll get to it later, but I need to take care of me. And that's how this whole idea of, oh, this is working for me. Let me share, because I'm starting to feel as if I am becoming more balanced in my life. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. We're talking about 8 benefits women get from a balanced and harmonious life. And I'm going to share a few things with you around this topic. And I'm also we're going to be talking about it all month. So if you're watching the replay, drop some comments, drop some questions in the comment section, because we're going to be going at it about balance. Balance. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about balance. How do we define balance? So I'm going to pull up a slide here. There we go. And I love this slide. This slide is actually, I've used this slide in a training that I've done called From Burnout to Balance. And this particular slide is of a scale, right? It reminds me of the scales of justice, but it's similar to the scale that we used in science class in middle school and in middle school and high school science class where we were measuring things and we had to measure them using grams and all of that. But the bottom line is with this particular scale, it measures um, proportion, it measures an equal distribution of items. And when items are equally distributed, the scale, the two baskets are even. They're not uneven as it shows. As you can see in the slide, the scale is uneven. So when we're talking, oftentimes when we're talking about balance, we're talking about an even distribution of of um, of something, of items, or we're talking about an equal proportion of something. Think about a cake or pie. I have a friend who makes the best cakes in the world. And, when you're cutting that cake, you want to make sure that the slices are equal in size and that they're proportional, right? So that there's balance to all of the slices of cake. There's also, so when we're talking about balance, we're talking about an even distribution according to this scale where it's even. We're also talking about an equal proportion where you have the same sized slice of cake that I do, or you have the same number of chips that I do, an equal proportion. But there's also another aspect of balance where we're talking about stability, where we don't fall over, where something doesn't fall over. And I think about gymnasts when they're on a balance beam. When they're on the balance beam, they're balancing on this very narrow piece of wood so that they don't fall over. But there's stability. Sometimes when they do flips or after they've done a flip, they get off balance and they kind of teeter and then they stabilize and they can stand on that beam without threat of falling. So, when we're talking about balance, we're talking about an even distribution, we're talking about even proportion, or we're talking about stability so that we don't fall over. Just before I started our live stream tonight, my daughter started doing the mountain pose because I was teasing her and I said, "Hey, do you want to be on my show tonight?" And she said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Balance." And she said, "Well, let me do my mountain pose." I told her that was okay. So, but generally, that's what hey, thank you for the thumbs up. Generally, but that's what we're talking about when we're talking about balance. But we're not just talking about balance today. We're talking about life balance. And I wanted to show you this slide as well. Because when we're talking about balance as it relates to work and our personal life, so often we see an imbalance or we experience an imbalance in our work and our home life. So when we're talking about life balance, what we're talking about is, yes, we want to balance this out. We want this teeter-totter of work and life to be even so that we are not we're not tipping over, so that we're not overwhelmed, so that we're not trying to carry too much, right? But it's not just work and life. When we're talking about balance, we also want to make sure that there's stability in terms of how we're enjoying ourselves, how satisfied we are, how much peace we have in our lives, as opposed to some of the emotions that we experience, like anger, disappointment, some of the concerns that we carry, like concerns about our family, concerns about our financial situation, and yes, our work, our work. So, oftentimes when we hear work life balance or life balance, we immediately go to this particular view of what we're talking about. However, that doesn't encompass everything, because when we're talking about life balance, we're really talking about a harmonious integration of various aspects of our lives. We're talking about our careers. We're talking about our well being. We're talking about our relationships. And we're also talking about our personal growth. So it does not just encompass work and life, personal life, it also encompasses all of these other things in our enjoyment, our satisfaction, our peace, the things that we should experience by virtue of living, right? And how it balances out some of the other things that we experience, like our emotions, like our concerns, and the pressures that we experience because we're alive. So, think of life balance. And all month, as we're talking about life balance, I'm going to remind you that when we're talking about life balance, we're talking about a harmonious integration. Harmonious integration. It fits like a glove, or it fits like that leather skirt you used to wear when you were like 22. Or it all comes together in a way that's integrated. It relies on each other, and it's enmeshed. We're talking about the various aspects of our lives that are harmoniously integrated so that we can experience balance as we're on this journey. So, I'm going to put this other scale up. So, what are we talking about? What we're talking about is a harmonious integration of the various aspects of our lives that also increases and encourages safety, stability, and security. And think about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need that. We need to feel safe. We need to feel stable, and we need to feel secure. And when we're talking about that, when we're focusing on how that integration comes together, and when it is totally integrated and it's harmonious, we do feel safe, we do feel stable, and we do feel secure. Now, I'm not, so when we're talking about that, and I know this is kind of a lot, but I'm going to break it down. This is an overview and an introduction. I'm going to break it down um, as we go into the month, right? So when we're talking about this integration that allows us to feel safe, stable, and secure, we're talking about safety, stability, and security inside, within ourselves, as well as in our environment. And as I said before, when we're talking about within ourselves, I'm talking about mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And when I'm talking about our environment, I'm talking about the places that we live, the places we go, the people we interact with, the people with whom we don't necessarily interact, but who are in our space, right? We're talking about the environment. We're talking about the quality of the environment, the quality of our air, the quality of our water, the quality of the safety within our environment. We're talking about all of that. So, life balance, when we're talking about life balance, we're not just talking about the scale that may be tipped. We're not just talking about work as opposed to our personal life. We're talking about all of those aspects of our life that impacts and influences our experience of safety, stability, and security. So, what happens when women experience life balance? What happens when our lives are in balance? Well, there are a number of things that happen for us. Number one, and I'm going to go through eight things. And as I said, as we go through the month, this is our theme for the month, life balance. And I hope I'm sharing things with you that will help you to create a plan that will result in a more balanced life. So, number one, these are our eight things. When a woman experiences true life balance, there's a sense of purpose and a satisfaction regarding one's career without feeling overwhelmed by our work demands. We can go to work and we can enjoy being in that environment with our colleagues because it's satisfying to us. There's a purpose that we have. We feel that we are accomplishing what we set out to do within the confines of our responsibilities at work. So there's a sense of purpose and we experience satisfaction as it relates to our work when we are experiencing true life balance or a balanced life. The second thing is that we have time and energy to take care of ourselves. You know, we've talked about self-care here on Stress Talk, and that's one of the things that we keep coming back to. How do you take care of yourself? How it's important to take care of yourself, when you should take care of yourself, right? Self-care is vital to us. And when we are living a balanced life, we have time and we have the energy to take care of ourselves. And that includes our physical health, mental wellness, as well as those things that we just enjoy, the things we enjoy doing. I love to walk. I walked this morning. It was a little bit hot. It's been hot, but I walked this morning. I walked yesterday morning and it was wonderful. Waved at my neighbors, chatted with them as we passed each other. Self-care. So there's time to do it. You make time to do it, and you have the energy to do it. The next thing is that you have meaningful connections with your family and your friends and your community. You don't disregard your family. You have meaningful relationships with those people who are important to you and with your community. Next, fourth, there are opportunities to grow personally and to learn outside of work. So you're taking classes. You might want to learn to knit. So you take knitting classes, or you may want to paint, or you might want to sing, or you might want to participate in a play, right? You have opportunities for personal growth. And not only are those opportunities extended to you, you accept them, you participate in them, and you grow personally and you learn. The fifth outcome of a balanced life is that you're able to set and maintain healthy boundaries between the different aspects of your life. What does that mean? A simplified explanation of what that means is you don't bring your work home. You don't, when you get home, you don't talk about work with your spouse or your children. You talk about other things. Likewise, you don't take home to work. Likewise, you don't take home to your community setting or work to your community setting. Work stays where it is. Excuse me. Work stays where it is. Oh, I knew I had tea. Here it is. Work stays where it is. And that's a big thing, too, right? We've become accustomed to bringing our work situations and our work to our home, and it fills it. One of the things that I often share with people is that if somebody works construction, or I'll use my dad as an example. My dad worked in a factory, and when he came home, he would take a shower. He would take off his work clothes, take a shower. He would put on new clothes, and he would not talk about work. He was home. He would put on an episode of Andy Griffith. He would laugh till he was crying, and we would laugh with him because he wanted to spend time with his family. Somebody who works construction, one of the first things they do is they take their work clothes off, they shower, they cleaned up, they change. It's like they're taking work off and leaving it at work, and they put on their home clothes and their home mindset. People who work in offices don't necessarily do that. People who work in offices, we come home, and what do? We come home, we'll keep our work clothes on while we're doing other stuff, and we then talk about work. We don't have healthy boundaries when it comes to that. However, when we're living a balanced life, we can set and maintain those boundaries. The sixth thing is that we have flexibility to adjust our priorities as we need to, and we don't feel guilty about it. Have you ever had a situation where you had to make a choice between going to your child's play or your child's game and doing something else like work or doing your volunteer activity? You can set your own priorities, and you don't have to be stressed, and you don't have to feel guilt when you're living a balanced life. The seventh outcome, I held up 5 fingers. The seventh, let me put up there, the seventh outcome of living a balanced life is feeling that there is an alignment, there's a congruence between your values and your actions. That is so key. When I work with women, helping them to develop a personal mission statement or a professional mission statement, this is one of the aspects that we talk about, your values, because what you do every day needs to align with and be congruent with your values. And what this means is it's not just actions, it's your words, it's the things that you say, it's your thoughts, it's your feelings. All of those things need to align with your true values. And when you are living a balanced life, you can feel that congruence, you can feel that alignment. The eighth outcome of a balanced life is that there's resilience. Whenever you're facing challenges across your life through this journey, across all aspects of your life, you are resilient. You have what you need to meet the challenges on a daily basis. You're resilient. You're resilient. Those are the 8 outcomes of a balanced life. And we're going to go through all of those again in some form throughout the month. I look forward to your joining me as we talk about this. And I invite you to let me know if you want some extra help in developing balance in your life. It helps you again feel safe, stable, and secure. So we've been talking about 8 benefits women get from a balanced and harmonious life plan. And I'm going to help you this month think about and create a plan for yourself for a balanced life. We talked about how to define balance in general terms, that is. We've also talked about what life balance is. What about life balance? We talked about what that means and how it looks. And then finally, we talked about what are the results of living a balanced life? What can you look forward to when you live balanced so that you're not feeling overwhelmed and you feel safe, stable, and secure? Well, that's all for now. I'm so glad that you joined me today on Stress Talk Live. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I look forward to talking a lot more about balance. That's all for now. Take good care.